Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey.
Hello.
And the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 cents.
The Lord of Pennies in black. Thank you.
Yes. And I'm your host, Scribe, the Lord of Punishment. Hello, chat. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone has had a good Friday, a good week before, and a good weekend ahead of you. Sorry. Before the stream started, point curation, thank you. 3M 6800 mask plus 3M P100 filters. I'm assuming that is the best advice to avoid coronavirus. I actually have, I don't know if the filters are good enough. I have a mask because we've had in previous years, we've had the forest fire smoke floating over everything. And I used my gas mask that one year and it worked great. But it's a little archaic. So hopefully it doesn't come to that. There was news today that a lab in Houston had apparently, they say, created the vaccine for the coronavirus, but it has to go through testing. So we will see on that. But anyway, aside from all that, Monkey, how are you feeling?
Worn out, man. Worn down.
Yeah?
Yeah, just beat up, but better than I was yesterday, so.
That's good, because we missed you.
I appreciate that. I hate not being here.
Everybody was like, where's Monkey? And we're like, well, he's not here. But man, you missed such a cute little Squeetus yesterday.
I did go back and I was watching a little bit of it when I woke up last night.
Yeah, her hair was all done up and she was all dancing and squeaking.
I saw when she was saying happy birthday to someone near the end.
Yeah, that was something else. And Satsu, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Nothing to complain about other than the fact that my bank is dicking around. My mom called and cussed them the fuck out today. Oh my God. She called me and was like, I went the fuck off. I'm like, oh boy. So yeah, still waiting on that whole thing to get taken care of.
Cool. Well, he's just getting taken care of. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. Do you think Dante's cat had spent quite a bit of time in purgatory? Purgatory. Hashtag double payment. I don't know if there's a reference that I'm not getting there, but if we're talking about Dante Alighieri, then yeah, I get it. Sort of. Anyway, do you guys get it?
I didn't know he had a cat.
No, Dante Alighieri? Yeah, I don't know. I probably. I mean, that guy was probably rolling in pussy because he was a poet.
I think he's talking about the Inferno.
That's Dante Alighieri wrote the Inferno.
Oh, I thought he was talking about Dante himself.
Well, Dante, never mind. Okay. Anyway. Yes, I know. Everyone's like, Dante's Inferno. Scribe like, yes, Dante Alighieri, author of the Inferno and Paradiso and Purgatorio. And the narrator in Dante's Inferno was unnamed. It's assumed to be Dante himself, effectively. Virgil was leading him through. Okay, I'm not even, I was an English major, guys. I know a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Anyway, Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, video games. Hit that like button if you have not already, and any of you haven't, per tradition. And please share our stuff. Share it far, wide, and sideways, left, right, up, down. As we say, most shows, and I'll say again, you guys are our best algorithm for letting the world know that we exist. Same goes for any other content creator on YouTube or really any other platform that you enjoy, because without you guys telling people that there's stuff out there that's worth listening to or watching, YouTube's not going to help out. Most of the other platforms aren't going to help out either. So thank you so much for your support, as the Martini and Rossi guys used to say. Was it? Oh no, that was Bartles and James. Sorry, was it Bartles and James? Bartles and James. Thank you for your support. So guess what?
Chicken butt.
Very good. But besides that,
chicken stew.
Well, the thing is, no matter who wins this next election, Russia wins. Because, oh my God, guys, you thought it was bad when it was just Russia and Trump colluding, but now, surprise, surprise, our resident socialist and the Russians are in bed together because Sanders told Russia is trying to help his campaign.
Now, how is it possible that we have both narratives being pushed on a national level? That Trump is both trying to help Bernie or Putin is trying to help both Bernie and Trump.
I know. It's just like, everybody that the DNC doesn't want to win is suddenly being supported by Russia. It's amazing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know someone who isn't being supported by Russia. Michael Bloomberg.
Oh.
So obviously he's the better choice because he's not corrupted by Russia. Now, I don't know that for a fact. He might be corrupted by Russia. I'm just guessing. But let's find out what the news regarding Bernie is today. Senator Bernie Sanders said Friday that his campaign was briefed about Russian efforts to help his presidential campaign, intensifying concerns about the Kremlin's role in the U.S. presidential race. News alert, guys. We talked about this last night. We've talked about this over and over again, and I can't help but reiterate. Unless they are hacking the vote totals, unless they are sending agents to every jurisdiction in every county and every state to somehow manipulate people through mental waves or something, they are not interfering in the elections. If they are dousing us with propaganda, they're doing no more a disservice to our elections than either side of the aisle against the other with their propaganda. So, because like I said, no one has yet shown me how anything Russia may or may not have done in the past election actually changed a single vote that wasn't already set one way or the other by our own media and propaganda. Thank you, Non-Vitae Rex. I shared the link. Please don't be weird, guys. We're not weird. Everything we do here is perfectly normal for this show. So there you go. Thank you, Sanguine. Bernie is the first one of those being, quote, helped by Russia, unquote, that I could have believed was Soviet-backed. That is true. That is true. It remains unclear how Russia is attempting to help Sanders. Well, it doesn't matter if there's actual evidence. Just the allegation is all we need. Mm-hmm. Putting doubt into our electoral process. Putting doubt into the legitimacy of any votes that go one way or the other. That's all that's needed. We don't need proof. We just need fear and suspicion. That's enough.
What? Democrats don't use fear.
No. The revelation comes a day after it was reported that the U.S. intelligence community believes Moscow is taking steps to help President Donald Trump win, and at a time when Sanders is emerging as the Democratic frontrunner. Amazing timing, isn't it?
It is. When we know how much they don't want him to be the nominee.
Yeah, like I say, Russia seems to be helping everybody the DNC doesn't want to win the election. Speaking to reporters in Bakersfield, California, Friday afternoon, Sanders confirmed that his campaign was briefed about the Kremlin's efforts about a month ago, and condemned Russia's attempts to interfere in U.S. elections. Wait, this happened a month ago. Why are we only hearing about it now? Quote, it was not clear what role they're going to play. We were told that Russia, maybe other countries, are going to get involved in this campaign. And look, here's the message to Russia. Stay out of American elections, Sanders said. So wait, he said this a month ago, and only today it's front page news.
Well, it might be related to that line you said that was in the last paragraph. As soon as Bernie starts becoming like the front runner or whatever, like,
yep.
I don't think the timing was, a coincidence.
So the timing of the promotion of the story does not coincide with the timing of the briefing.
No, but that doesn't matter when you're an ignorant reader who doesn't know any better.
That is interesting. Quote, and what they are doing, by the way, this is again Bernie, I suppose. The ugly thing that they are doing, and I've seen some of their tweets and stuff, is they try to divide us up. You don't say divide and conquer by inserting suspicion into our electoral process, Bernie. You don't say. That's what they did in 2016. And that is the ugliest thing they are doing, is that they're trying to cause chaos and they're trying to cause hatred in America, unquote. And yet we spent 3.5 years chasing after collusion.
Now, here's the funny thing. We never have the discussion about how they managed to pull this off. Because anybody can try to cause divide. Anybody can try to cause a rift in between the people, but we never seem to discuss the actual people who it's supposedly affecting and what methods they need to take to not take the bait. Because the issue here isn't the fact that they are trying to, fuck with the election. The issue is your following is easily influenced by their attempts to fuck with the election.
Well, it's not only that, but I mean, I remember when this all started, or we started doing the show, and we started talking about all this stuff, they would say things in articles to the effect of, there is no longer any doubt that Russia wants to interfere in the election. And I'm like, well, I want a moon base. That doesn't mean I'm going to get it. I mean, they may desire a whole bunch of things. That doesn't mean they have it. And you guys talking about it as though it's confirmed, it is happening, and it is taking place. Okay, a desire does not equate to a reality. Saying that they're going to do something doesn't mean they are. And whatever they say they're going to do, what we know they did do last time is advertisements. And so far as I know, and I could be mistaken, maybe I'm forgetting because I haven't thought about it in quite a while. Has it been proven that Russia was actually the ones that released the Podesta emails and all that?
I don't know.
I think that was confirmed as well as they can.
Okay, so that was Russia, and then WikiLeaks was the DNC emails, right? Or
it was all done through WikiLeaks. The Russians
Okay.
released it to WikiLeaks.
Okay. Which told us that the DNC is corrupt and Hillary Clinton's a liar, which we all already knew.
Yeah, and nobody on that base believed. So effectively, it did nothing.
Yeah, and besides which, Hillary won the popular vote and Trump won the electoral vote. So if it was about changing minds towards Trump, they failed.
Yeah, they didn't succeed.
Yeah, and so, like I say, to this point, I don't, except for intentionally injecting uncertainty into our elections, I don't understand what it is we're supposed to be scared of.
Well, it sounds like you're supposed to be scared of useful idiots.
Well, I just keep having the Roosevelt line come to mind, and we have nothing to fear but fear itself. And until somebody shows me something more substantive, irate bear, then we believe they have the desire to do the thing and the stuff. My vote's already made up for the most part, unless something really dramatic happens, and that's I'm not voting for anybody in the presidential. So,
well, I just want to know if this excuse will be valid in future situations. Like, can I like murder somebody and be like, look, I know for a fact that Russia influenced me to murder somebody. They put all this propaganda out there, all this stuff or whatever. It wasn't my fault. It was their influence over me. I shouldn't have to take responsibility for that.
Well, I'm curious to find out if Bernie gets the Democratic nomination, isn't it going to be funny if Trump comes out and says, hey, we need to launch an investigation? I think there's collusion. That would be fucking hilarious.
And watch them fucking shoot it down and claim that Trump is just trying to do this or
Right.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
You'll think that whole fucking investigation never happened.
Thank you, Sanguine. The thing that still drives me crazy about that is there was no attempt to say that the leaks were fake. It was all, well, how did they get it? Well,
Yep.
I mean, they can't deny it because there was nothing to say it was fake because they were real emails. That was the most striking thing when it first happened back in 2016 is the fact that they never denied the authenticity of what was released. They just protested the method in which it was obtained.
Yep.
Right.
Which told everybody right off the bat, this shit is real. And that was the most amazing thing about it. And anyway, we could go on. We've gone to that before, but there are other stories. Anything else to say on that, guys, for the time being? Because this is going to be reverberating for months forward, but anything else to say right now?
Well, it is weird to me that even though that came out, everything on that I saw today was all about the Russians helping Trump.
Right.
Like, all right, make up your mind, guys. I'm with Satsu on that. Make up your mind. Which is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and what's weird though is the narrative. If the narrative is to be taken at face value from what I've seen, which is they are helping Bernie be the Democratic candidate so Trump can beat him. That means they think that Bernie doesn't stand a chance against Trump. Like, if that's the narrative, because that's what I've seen, like they're trying to help Bernie so he becomes the person who runs against Trump, so Trump wins. That's Russia's plan. Right. I'm like, if you believe that, then you believe that Bernie has no chance of beating Trump.
Well, no. If you believe that, then obviously your choice is Michael Bloomberg.
The Bloom boy.
So I'm wondering if Bloomberg's colluding with the Russians for realsies to make everybody else think they're colluding with Bernie and Trump. And then we got a four-dimensional chess all over the place. Anyway, speaking of Bloomberg, after his momentous performance on Wednesday night, Bloomberg offers to release women from 3 confidentiality agreements.
Oh.
Yeah, he didn't think to do it before he ended up on that stage, but now he's been shamed into it, apparently. Democratic presidential candidate Michael Bloomberg said Friday that women covered by 3 non-disclosure agreements who had made complaints against him can be released from those pacts if they contact his company. Bloomberg tweeted, quote, Bloomberg LP has identified 3 NDAs signed over the past 30-plus years with women to address complaints about comments they said I had made, unquote. Quote, if any of them want to be released from their NDAs, they should contact the company and they'll be given a release, the tweet reads. The announcement comes after Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren pressed the businessman and former New York City mayor at the Democratic presidential debate Wednesday and again at a CNN town hall Thursday to release women who have made allegations of sexist and misogynistic behavior against him from their non-disclosure agreements. A senior Bloomberg advisor tells CNN that the women behind one of the 3 NDAs is Sakiko Garrison, who accused Bloomberg in the 1990s of repeatedly saying crass things in the workplace. Bloomberg spokesman Stu Loeser, Loeser, Loesher, maybe. I'll try to be. I'll try to be diplomatic. I'll say Stu Loesher, because Stu Losers just sounds like man. Has said that Bloomberg, quote, did not make any of the statements alleged in the Sakiko Garrison case, unquote. I'd love to know what the allegations were. Garrison's lawyer, Neil Brickman, has not responded to requests for comment. According to the advisor, the other 2 NDAs did not result from lawsuits, but rather complaints. The advisor would not say anything about the identity of the women covered by those agreements. Man, to make a quick buck in Bloomberg, apparently you just had to make a complaint about something, and you got paid off.
You see what Jim said? He said they can be released. They just have to return any settlement money for it.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Oh, that would be excellent.
The advisor also stated that there are certainly other lawsuits about gender discrimination or sexual harassment at the company, but again, only 3 have been identified as accusing Bloomberg for saying inappropriate things. So, okay, so there are NDAs elsewise, but these are only the NDAs that apply to things said. So Bloomberg could have been grabbing ass for 30 years, and those NDAs he's not going to release. But comments made, you found 3. I understand now. Okay. Because I thought, if it was only 3 NDAs, that's such a, over the course of 30 years, like, that is, I mean, in a giant corporation like that, that's a tiny amount of things that could happen or qualify.
Well, also, are these just the ones only against him?
Apparently so.
Well, what I'm asking there is, because he said during the debate that none of the complaints were actually against him.
From what I'm gathering from this article, it is implying that these specifically are NDAs regarding his conduct.
Huh. Well, that's interesting because it is what he said during the debate. None of those were against me. So,
because the Sakiko Garrison case, who accused Bloomberg in the 1990s of repeatedly saying crass things in the workplace. So accused Bloomberg specifically himself.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck if he said crass things in the workplace.
I don't either. But I just find it interesting that it's like I'm not releasing all the NDAs. God knows how many those are. Just these 3 specific ones. So let's see. According to the allegations laid out in 2 lawsuits, Bloomberg told a group of female employees prior to a male colleague's wedding to, quote, line up to give him a blowjob as a wedding present, unquote. That he would regularly direct comments like, look at that nice piece of ass at women in the office. And upon learning that a female employee was expecting a baby, he responded, kill it.
Aren't these all things we already knew?
I had no knowledge of Bloomberg aside from his name, really, and that he was mayor of New York until about a week ago. I've read these things since then, so these aren't new to me. That I'm only reading it for the first time, but all of his indiscretions, I mean, it's new to me as of this month, let's say. So, yeah, I don't know if that information's been out there a very long time or not, but that's. Like I said, this Bloomberg only ended up on my radar because money. That's it. Not because he paid me. That'd be nice, but no, just because he's spinning ads and he becomes the artificially inserted candidate. Anyway, let's see what else we got. New Jersey. We all love New Jersey, don't we? Did I lose the show?
I don't have an opinion either way on Jersey, so.
Okay, everybody went silent there. Was like, did I drop?
Well, I was typing, and I thought you were just saying it rhetorically because who the fuck has an opinion on New Jersey?
Yeah, I did get a Streamlabs earlier that apparently I missed. Sorry about that. Do not listen to Scribe. He is a Russian asset. All of his super chats are from Russian bots.
Хочешь jablonny пирожок, гражданин?
I knew it.
Da. New Jersey just raised its threat level for white supremacists to high, well above ISIS and Al-Qaeda.
Oh.
I didn't know they had a emergency rating for white supremacists in New Jersey. White supremacists are officially more of a threat to New Jersey than both ISIS and Al-Qaeda, according to state security officials. That's actually kind of comforting if that's actually true, because foreign terrorism is pretty terrible. So if it's so low a concern now that your biggest concern is the small number of actual declared organizational members of white supremacist organizations, I think you're doing okay. In the state's annual terrorism threat assessment report released Friday, the state raised the threat level for white supremacist extremists to high. Okay, I'm gonna start over there because it's funny. The state raised the threat level for white supremacist extremists to high, the topmost category for threat levels for any extremist group in the state. Are you saying high is the topmost? Thanks.
Sounds like.
The only other threat listed as high as white supremacist extremists. How high are they? Are homegrown violent extremists who also held the top place in 2019's report. Wait, homegrown and white supremacists, they're two different things?
Well, yeah, we import all our racists, apparently.
So if I'm a homegrown violent, but I'm not a racist, I'm in a different category. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, you're one of the good ones.
I didn't say I was talking figuratively. I'm not violent. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I get beat up as a kid. I don't fight anybody. White supremacists were previously listed as a moderate threat along with ISIS, but in 2020's report, white supremacists moved up while ISIS receded one level to low. This rating system brought to you by Rotten Tomatoes. White supremacists outrank Boko Haram, black separatist extremists, and more than a dozen other extremist groups in the report. Okay, so white supremacists are supreme in their report. Is there something that did that? I was wondering, it's like, did something happen? Let's see. The report specifically discusses a rising threat from white supremacist extremists. Saying that phrase is going to make my tongue turn into knots. Over the last year, referencing the El Paso Walmart shooting as an example.
What?
I wasn't aware that El Paso, New Jersey was a thing.
Well, hold on. So, are they not counting the threats that are presented by basic everyday shootings and crime there?
Well, I mean, the confusion here for me is that their state report is citing incidents many, many, many states away.
Right. Which is
so let's find out. The report also mentions local incidents. Well, you would think that would be the report's main content.
Now, why would that be the case?
Like the arrest of a man who admitted to instructing members of a neo-Nazi network to vandalize synagogues and was accused of expressing interest in attacking black people with a machete at a New Jersey mall.
Did it happen? Did they do it?
So wait, he admitted to instructing members of a neo-Nazi network to vandalize synagogues and was expressing interest. This is almost exactly like Russia desires to interfere in our elections. But did they? I mean, don't get me wrong. If someone starts making threats about using a machete on people or causing vandalism, which, I mean, it's vandalism, but still, that's pretty bad. That raises them above Al-Qaeda or ISIS.
That is fascinating.
Spray paint is a bitch.
Because it sounds like, and I might be stretching here, I don't know, I don't have all the facts. It sounds like you guys had a few local incidents that were on the very low end of actual incidents. So you had to reach out to El Paso to make it seem like there's something going on.
But they didn't even have incidents. They had a guy. Well, I mean, the guy may have done other stuff, but he was talking about vandalizing.
Quote, the ever-changing threat landscape in New Jersey and around the country requires us to adjust our strategies to anticipate new threats while remaining ready to combat those already existing, said Jared Maples, director of the New Jersey Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure. I mean, if you're talking about, just Boy Scouts motto, always be prepared. That's fine. But if it's the New Jersey report, why are you talking about El Paso? And if the biggest threat that you can come up with to mention, I mean, I'm assuming that if there was some marquee headline example of why New Jersey has a particular problem, it would be the thing listed in this article. But no, it's a guy who was talking about maybe doing things.
Yeah.
Which I'll tell you what, that's great news. If the worst thing you can come up with for white supremacist extremism in New Jersey is a guy thinking about doing things, I'm happy with that in the grand scheme of things.
Maybe this to me sounds like something they were forced to do that was on a list of demands from like the local fucking minority militia group or whatever. It just sounds like something like, yeah, we got to do this thing. It doesn't mean anything, but it'll make the darkies happy.
So it's like one grand virtue signal.
That's what it feels like, because we're talking about it and we're questioning it and I guess trying to figure out why. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't change anything. Their designation went up, but it doesn't change anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly. I mean, like a locked door only keeps out an honest man. I mean, if somebody's intent on hurting somebody, regardless of what their motivation is or their reason, more likely than not, they're probably going to do it, unless they're just talking about it and never do anything, and then it's just talk.
Well, yeah, in this case, the people who've been thinking about doing horrible things are still thinking about doing it, even though their designation went up.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. If this guy actually posted threats somewhere or made mention to someone and then someone reported that to the police because better safe than sorry, sure, that could be something that's actionable. But elsewise, like I say, if that's the worst thing they can come up with to cite as a local issue, New Jersey's doing okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of the Taliban, I wasn't talking about the Taliban, but ISIS, Al-Qaeda, they're kind of all grouped in there. I read from, I forget who it was that submitted it yesterday, part of the op-ed that the New York Times posted from a member of the Taliban.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And there was a great I forget who put it on Twitter today, but somebody it might have been it was either Lauren Chen, I think. It might have been Roaming Millennial, but she said something effective like, New York Times, YouTube gives platforms to extremists. Also, New York Times gives op-ed space to Taliban member.
Literally Taliban
Yeah.
leader.
Yeah. Literally.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Not a Russian bot. Here's Scribe. This is not a bribe. All right. And this is not a thank you. Oh, wait. No, yes, it is. Thank you. What the New York Times didn't tell readers about its Taliban op-ed is shocking. Speaking of shocking, what's my work trying to tell me right now, as usual? Okay. Let's see. What is shocking? Excuse me. On Thursday, the New York Times published an op-ed by Sirajuddin Haqqani under the headline, quote, "What we, the Taliban, want," unquote. As if I care. In his op-ed, Haqqani wrote, quote, "I am convinced that the killing and the maiming must stop," unquote. And I said last night, yeah, so stop doing it. The Times described Haqqani as, quote, "the deputy leader of the Taliban," unquote. But this bland descriptor doesn't capture who Haqqani really is. Well, I was assuming the way that it was posted, that it was something to the effect of like, how do they describe that one guy that got killed? He was the scholar.
Oh, yeah.
They called him the urbane scholar or something after he got killed, who was actually a terrorist.
Yeah. They gave him a very flattering designation.
Yeah. Was that the New York Times as well, or was that Washington Post? I forget now.
Oh, I don't remember.
Anyway, but this bland descriptor, yeah, right. According to the FBI, Haqqani is a, quote, specially designated global terrorist. The FBI is offering $5 million for information leading directly to his arrest. The U.S. State Department is also offering a reward of up to $10 million for information that brings Haqqani to justice. The only terrorist who has a higher reward is the current leader of Al-Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri. Will the Times be offering Zawahiri an op-ed spot next? Oh, sorry, austere scholar, says H-Cam. That's right, austere. That was the word.
Yes, that's what it was.
Urbane, austere, whatever. The FBI also notes that Haqqani is, quote, wanted for questioning in connection with the January 2008 attack on a hotel in Kabul, Afghanistan that killed 6 people, including an American citizen. He is believed to have coordinated and participated in cross-border attacks against the United States and coalition forces in Afghanistan. Haqqani also allegedly was involved in the planning of the assassination attempt of Afghan President Hamid Karzai in 2008. Great.
Sounds like a good guy.
Yeah, good job, New York Times. Now, I mean, to a certain extent, I'm not upset that they posted it because it does give an interesting insight into the propaganda this guy's pushing. So in that sense, it's just words on a page. It's more like a very bizarre decision on the part of the New York Times to do that. But it was quasi-interesting, entertaining to read this guy talking about, we want the maiming and killing to stop. We did not. I remember what was the line? It says, "We did not choose this war" or something. I'm like, oh yeah, that whole 9/11 thing. Yeah, no, it's fine. Oh God. Has the New York Times actually said anything in response to all this criticism? I'm trying to see if they said.
Well, where was the article you just read from again?
Oh, this is CNN.
CNN. Okay.
Yeah. They're just talking about the specifically written by Peter Bergen, who's a national security analyst and a professor at Arizona State University. I've seen him on TV before. Yeah, it's just like, by the way, New York Times didn't tell you this guy is a horrible, horrible terrorist that's had a bounty on his head from multiple places, and et cetera, et cetera. I assumed, given he was a deputy leader of the Taliban, that he probably did not have clean hands in his personal history. So
sure,
I didn't really be told that, but all the same, it's like, yeah.
I wager the response is going to be like, CNN's attack on brown people is.
Oh Lord, yeah. But yeah, no, they don't seem to have anything in here about what the Times has said in response to this. I'd be curious to know if they've defended themselves or something, or what their defense might have been. like I say, I don't really care. It's words on a page kind of thing, but it is kind of embarrassing that that's your given your criticism of other platforms in the past, that's the person you decide to give a platform to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in their doing it, it's for the public interest.
I suppose. And didn't I read the other day that we are close to sealing some kind of peace deal with the Taliban at the end of the month?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've
So
had a ceasefire, and there's supposed to be an overall peace treaty.
yeah. Now I don't have a problem with that as long as it actually is upheld and enforced. But yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if that also means they're going to like rescind the bounties on the guys in the Taliban. Is that part of the deal?
It would pretty much have to be.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Anyway, guys, a little bit over time. We're going to move on to MSS News. So if you have a news story you would like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. Can't promise to get to them all. That's because I'm long-winded. That's basically my pat answer now for not getting to everything. Let's see. This one comes from Mercy of Wits. And if it'll come up, Twitter is suspending 70 pro-Bloomberg accounts citing platform manipulation.
Oh.
Wow. Michael R. Bloomberg. What's the R stand for?
Rich.
Nice. Michael R. Bloomberg's presidential campaign has been experimenting with novel tactics to cultivate an online following, or at least the appearance of one. Yeah, paying people to use their personal Twitter and social media accounts to basically advertise for his campaign without notifying that this is a paid advertisement. Which I'm still wondering, has the FEC said anything about that yet? Thank you, James Colley. Ranting Monkey, check your Streamlabs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't usually have it open during the show, guys.
And thank you, Cody Fry. Rise up against the American pigs, comrade. Scrotus 2020. Okay, neither Squeetus or myself are Russian bots, which is exactly what a Russian bot would say, which is why you know I'm not one.
Scrotum sounds like a Russian bot.
Does it?
It does. Over on the Streamlabs, thank you, James Colley. Quick reading test for you, and hope you're feeling better. Thank you so much. I'm feeling better, but I'll get there eventually, guys.
It's a game of inches with Monkey.
It's a game of centimeters with Monkey. Ask Lady Monkey. Wait.
That was an innuendo that I didn't think you intended, but that worked. That's great. Thanks, Monkey. Well, we'll just let people clip that. That's your new ringtone, guys.
I believe in the metric system. That's what I meant.
You're the Russian bot. Okay. But one of these strategies, deploying a large number of Twitter accounts to push out identical messages, has backfired. On Friday, Twitter began suspending 70 accounts posting pro-Bloomberg content in a pattern that violates company rules. Quote, we have taken enforcement action on a group of accounts for violating our rules against platform manipulation and spam, a Twitter spokesman said. Thank you, Jordan250. Domo arigato, comrade scribbles. Domo, 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 domo. Some of the suspensions will be permanent, while in other cases, account owners will have to verify they have control of their accounts. Oh, they have control of their accounts because the strategy was, hey, I'm going to pay you $2,500 a month to use your personal social media account to specifically send out this propaganda.
I'm thinking about doing it.
I don't know. If I was like, I'm going to give you extra $2,500 a month just to send out Twitter messages, I would probably do it. And I'd also mention in there, by the way, this is being paid for. I don't actually believe any of this stuff. I'd add at the end of it, unless they said you couldn't do that. And I'd be like, oh, okay. And then I'd say,
I'm fairly certain legally you have to do it.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm wondering what the FEC has to say about it. I mean, Twitter doing it, that's their own thing. But it is.
Well, not even the FEC, the FCC.
Well, yeah, that too. Okay. Well, all the F organizations. Thank you, Shady Grin. Money equals Dr. Pepper. Enjoy the little things, my friend. Dr. Pepper is not a little thing. It is a juggernaut of flavor.
Yes, John Miller. If Steyer would pay up Tom, you owe me money.
That's right. Let's see. As part of a far-reaching social media strategy, i.e. bribery, the Bloomberg campaign has hired hundreds of temporary employees to pump out campaign messages through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. These, quote, deputy field organizers, unquote, that's a great thing to put on your resume, receive $2,500 per month to promote the former New York mayor's candidacy with their personal social circles. In addition to other, more conventional duties, they receive campaign-approved language that they can opt to post. Thank you, tall person. Quote, this statement is false, unquote. If you can read that aloud and not die, you're not a bot. Well, I'm still here. Yay. And thank you, Devil Fruit Zero. Dr. Pepper for president. Dr. Pepper is a drink, but probably more productive than some of the candidates out there right now. Yeah. Thank you, Devil Fruit. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I mean, surprise, surprise, Bloomberg's trying to buy the election and also do an end run around campaign election or campaign finance rules and election rules and things to pump up his message. And Twitter, as far as I can tell, is the first group to actually say nah, and not even the government. So that's interesting. Moving on. This one comes from VD.
What?
That's, I mean, their at is Purple Prince NXT, but they're calling themselves VD. I don't know how attractive that is, but no, it depends, I suppose. Burger King thinks moldy Whoppers will get you to buy more burgers. Have you seen this? I've seen this. It's gross.
No.
Burger King is remolding the image of its signature Whopper in a nauseating new ad campaign that promotes efforts to eliminate artificial preservatives and other additives from the company's menu. The burger chain on Wednesday unveiled pictures of its new preservative-free Whopper. In the campaign, the Whopper is covered in mold, decaying as it is consumed by green fungus. The unconventional marketing effort includes a TV commercial following the all-natural Whopper slowly rotting over the course of 34 days as soul singer Dinah Washington's 1959 hit, What a Difference a Day Makes, plays in the background. Deliberately absent are food coloring and special effects commonly used to make restaurant meals and their ingredients look appetizing in commercials. By the end of the 45-second commercial, the Whopper has transformed into a green and blue mess. Quote, the beauty of no artificial preservatives, unquote, the ad's tagline reads. Would that work on you?
No. That sounds disgusting.
I mean, it is disgusting.
I would answer, but I'm ordering Burger King off Grubhub right now.
Because Satsu needs his penicillin? For VD? Oh.
Look, I don't have a problem with them, no artificial. That's a nice thing for them to do and say. But I don't need my food to be displayed to me grossly.
I mean, I get what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's creative after a fashion, but it's just really, really weird. Anyway, moving on. This one comes from Frosted Glass, and it's The Guardian. A playwright wants only critics of color to review her.
Good luck controlling that.
Here's what our own critics think. Well, it's The Guardian, so are you following her wishes? And if you're not, aren't you racist? The indigenous artist, Yolanda Bonnell, says criticism should, quote, come from a place of knowledge, unquote.
Oh, really?
Interesting. Okay. When Yolanda Bonnell's play Bug opened in Toronto last week, Bug? I have a movie called Bug that was a play, but it has nothing to do with, anyway, it was actually a pretty good movie with Michael Shannon and, oh, God, what's her name? I suddenly forget her name. Was it, no, it wasn't Winona Judd. It was, it was one of the Judd sisters or something. Anyway, creepy movie. Moving on. Let's see. Let's see. When her play Bug opened in Toronto last week, she had an unusual request for the media. I don't know how unusual it is these days. That only people of color review it. Bunnell, an Indigenous artist from northwestern Ontario, creates ceremonial art. Her new play explores the effects of intergenerational trauma on Indigenous women and aims to focus on storytelling.
Intergenerational trauma. I remember that, and I still hate it.
Bunnell says she has received a number of racist reviews in the past.
Oh, fuck off.
Including one that suggested her work was more suited to reservations. Like people calling ahead to get a seat? Or no, I know. She received an apology for that article. Okay. But after discovering that other artists of color had experienced similar treatment, Bunnell decided to pull the plug on white critics for her current show.
You can't do that, though.
Unless you're going to filter people out at the ticket booth on the basis of their skin color, you can't.
This is what I'm saying. Like, how are these fucking people so authoritarian? How did this happen?
You say she can't, but she can. The major news, what's the word I'm looking for? Organizations. They'll be, yes, she said she wanted this, so we're going to respect her decision.
Well, yeah, no, in Canada, I could believe it. But let's see, quote, in Toronto, critics are mostly white and male. They come at Indigenous art with a different lens that often comes back to, quote, if I don't understand it, that means it's not good or it's not a valid form of theater, unquote, she says. Quote, I don't mind being critiqued.
Really?
But at least let it come from a place of knowledge of understanding what you're talking about. So wait a second. Let me get this straight. Someone who isn't white, well, that's the standard, can't be white, comes to a play about Indigenous intergenerational trauma. What if they're not Indigenous? What if they have absolutely no familial or cultural connection to Indigenous people or the struggles of Indigenous people in Canada?
Then they're
not coming from a place of knowledge. Can they come in? Can they critique your show?
They're not allowed to critique it now.
Uh-huh. I'm sure she has a lot of opinions on white media, though. I'm quite sure.
The Guardian's arts and culture correspondent, Lanre Bakare, I'm assuming that Lanre qualifies to be a critic here, but I'm just guessing, says he can understand the desire for fresh perspectives. Remember, guys, if you're white, your perspective is old and stale. A 2018 analysis by Rotten Tomatoes. I was joking before, but it's in the... Okay. 2018 analysis by Rotten Tomatoes found that of the 100 highest grossing U.S. films in 2017, of a total of 19,559 reviews, 82% were written by white critics and only 22% were written by women. Remember, guys, if you are of a particular race or of a particular gender, your thoughts are monolithic. You know, because Siskel and Ebert always agreed on everything.
Damn honkies.
I'm moving on from this. This is just, oh my God. Okay, what's this? This one comes from Massive Dynamics. If it'll come up. Okay. Am I going to have an ad popping up in front of me? I fear that I might. Okay, maybe not. All right, we'll see. California bill would require occupational licenses for porn actors, strippers, and cam girls. Now, I want to know, how do you test for your porn actor license?
You don't want to know.
Cam girls have to now have a license, an occupational license.
Judging from the people this is coming from, I got a couple ideas of how it's done.
Oi, mate, you got a license for that webcam?
Over on Streamlabs, I have a donation. Thank you, Mr. Scott. Hi, Meshishu. Hi, Richo. Meow, meow, meow. What did you say, meow? pause. Game of Russian bots. Thank you.
Okay. In a very California story, inter-union drama appears to be marring the introduction of a bill that would require porn stars to get business licenses. On Tuesday, Assembly members Lorena Gonzalez and Cristina Garcia introduced Assembly Bill 2389. The bill would require adult entertainers and video performers, including webcam performers, to obtain a business license and complete a state-mandated training course before being allowed to ply their trade.
Training course?
Will this training course be observed primarily by men? Thank you, Sanguine. Same way most of Hollywood starlets did, Scribe. Oh. Well, that's what I'm wondering now. A training course? Requirements for that training course would be developed by the state's Department of Industrial Relations, which would in turn be advised by a new 10-member governor-appointed board composed of 2 adult film actors, 3 dancers, 2 medical doctors, a therapist, a money manager, and a partridge in a pear tree. This training will be a minimum of 2 hours and will provide information on reporting workplace injuries, sexual harassment, and sex trafficking. Adult performers would be required to cover the cost of this training.
Wait a minute.
The bill would also require that they be fingerprinted.
Dude, this sounds like some mafia shit.
Okay, my question is, setting aside the adult performer aspect of this, is all of this exactly the same for any other union member in California? If there's no difference, that doesn't necessarily make it okay, first off, because I'm still not sure about this, but I'm just wondering, is any of that specifically aimed at this particular industry, or is that common practice? Just curious. They don't say so whether one way or the other in this article, but let's see. AP, what's this? Let's see. The Adult Performers Actors Guild, I didn't know there was such a thing, raised a number of specific concerns about AB 2389 on Twitter, including that it would, by only making licensing provisions for those 21 and older, bar sex workers under 21 from the industry. That's true. If you turn 18, you're legal adult. You know, and let's see. Thank you, Frosted Glass. Got my learner's permit. Need licensed supervision. Yeah, there you go. They're also expressing concern that the bill would force some performers to submit to licensing inspections at their homes if that's also their primary place of business. Yeah, so if you're a webcam model, and then it's like an inspector shows up, like I gotta check your workplace for any violations.
That's right.
Gotta check your vagina for ticks.
You know what we need then? What'll happen, and this will be funny, there'll be a webcam model who stages a porn scene of an inspector showing up and having it'll be like it'll be the new pizza man kind of thing.
Oh my god.
Thank you, Angry Illinois. So the state going to be their pimps. Well, they're going to make them pay for the training so they can be their pimps, I guess.
And it sounds like pimping with health insurance and no backhands.
And thank you, Jordan Edwardson. So the porn industry is moving to Florida. Yeah, exactly. It's like goodbye porn industry in California, or at least a good swath of it if it decides to do this. And like, yeah, it's just it's interesting.
The porn industry, sure, but you're not going to have all these cam girls move out of LA.
Right. I mean, if you're a porn business in California, yeah, you have to have a business license, and conceivably then if you have an actors guild, etc. Okay, that makes a bit more sense. But if you're an independent, I'm just doing this on my webcam or whatever the cam model sites are. Is that a business? Does that qualify? And then does you have to be licensed to do that?
I don't know, because I imagine it's much like YouTube, but you're an independent contractor.
Yeah.
I don't know that for certain, but
yeah, all right,
sounds logical.
Yeah, but then the thing is, does that mean that every person who does camera work for YouTube in California also have to get a license? Because aside from the whole adult aspect of it, you're performing on camera, conceivably for a monetary reward, either ad revenue or super chats or whatever else. So does every YouTuber who happens, or because I'm a YouTuber and my stuff is viewed in California, do I have to get a California license?
You probably shouldn't. You wouldn't have to. They might have things where they block it, like they kind of do with certain European countries. But I don't know if they'd bother to go that far.
That's bizarre. And yeah, I'm long-winded, guys. Sorry. A couple people sent us the story about the pigeons with the "Make America Great" hats glued to their heads. That's not a new story. I mean, it might be a new incident or instance of it, but I saw that story like a year or two ago. Someone was doing that. Apparently, it's still going on.
Those poor pigeons.
Both Mercy of Wits and Frosted Glass sent that. Okay, we'll do this. I don't want to do that. That involves a child being killed. I don't want to talk about that. Thank you, Sanguine. This dildo is far too girthy, thus it isn't OSHA and health and safety compliant, and this dildo is way too much horsepower for it to be up to code.
Yeah, like
that'd be great.
Man, we're not certain that this can fit in you safely.
You're gonna catch an infection.
We got to make sure that you are physically capable of operating this device. Please spread your legs.
Yes.
Oh God. Okay. Okay, we'll do one more here. Sorry, guys. I know I'm bad. This one comes from senior staff reporter and chief Florida correspondent Colleen Bernier. Got to get at least one Colleen article before the night gets too old. Potato soup assault leads to felony in Deltona.
In where?
I assume this is a place in Florida. Also, again, another instance of food fighting crime in Florida. A man became upset and dumped soup on his mother when she requested cheese. It's like, son, can you please give me some of the shredded cheese? Fuck you, Mom!
Trying to watch Full House.
Yeah, a 72-year-old woman's request that her son put some cheese in her potato soup ended badly with a bowl of soup in her lap and her son in jail, charged with a felony, according to the Volusia County Sheriff's Office. Oh my God, Ryan F. Lemons. Middle initials F, last name Lemons. 38 was charged with aggravated battery on a person 65 years or older. Lemons was being held Friday without bond at the Volusia County Branch Jail. The soup incident happened about 3:50 p.m. on Thursday in the home shared by the mother and son, 38 years old. Remember, guys, on Drysdale Drive in Deltona, a charging affidavit said. When I say Drysdale, I think of Beverly Hillbillies, Mr. Drysdale. I wasn't alive when the show came out, guys, but, Nick at Night, whatever. The mother was resting in bed because she's 72 and probably an invalid. When she asked Lemons for something to eat, the affidavit said. Lemons prepared a bowl of potato soup and brought it to her in the bedroom. His mother then asked for some cheese in the soup. Lemons became upset and told her to take the bowl of soup, at which point she replied she no longer wanted it and to take the soup back to the kitchen. Lemons then dumped the soup in her lap. His mother became upset and called police. The mother said she did not require medical attention, nor did she want to press charges. The deputy, though, saw stains on the woman's right pant leg consistent with having soup dumped on her, the charging affidavit said. The deputy arrested Lemons and charged him with the aggravated battery/domestic battery because his mother was 65 or older.
If you're 30, in your 30s, living with your mom who's in her 70s, and she asked for cheese in her soup, you fucking get it, dildo.
Okay, and that all being said, if she said, I'm not hurt, I don't want to press charges, why'd you call the cops? But aside from that, if she doesn't want to press charges and she had lukewarm soup dumped on her, is that really aggravated battery?
Technically, yes, but I'm with you. I understand.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, this goes before a judge. Give the guy community service or something. He's a douche nozzle and obviously a complete dip, but yeah.
Give the guy a job in an apartment.
There you go. Well, guys, thank you so much for all the stories. Sorry I couldn't get to them all. Like I said, long-winded, and sometimes you guys send us things that just arouse our conversational abilities.
Is it bad that would be a sufficient sentence for him? Like, we hereby sentence you to your own fucking apartment and a job, and he's like, no.
That'd be funny. Yeah. All right, so on to the wonderful world of YouTube time. I'll go first because it's quick. I didn't do anything because the last several days have been exceedingly busy at work. Not stressful busy, just like I had lots of things to do. So my mind was just kind of occupied all day. And then I get home and I just want to like veg out. However, in non-YouTube related, but still productive personal news, I've started writing again. Thank goodness. Writing a story, maybe. It's, one of those things that you kind of make it up as you go along, like most stories. And I've got about a page and a half. I mean, it sounds like a very little, but that's, when you're trying to write a fiction story or something and come up with something interesting, it takes a little while. So anyway, I'm feeling productive on that score. Will I share this story at some point? I don't know. If I finish it or feel proud enough of it, maybe I will. We'll see. Thank you, James Colley. Ranting Monkey, ... Streamlabs.
Oh. Let me refresh it here.
I got one for Mr. Scott too. Scribe, do you know any good white basketball? I think they meant players, I guess. Answer: there are no good white basketball players. P.S. I know a little German.
And thank you, James Colley. Workplace injuries. The dick / strap-on too big and bruised the cervix? Who do you see for FLMA? Where's the line for sexual harassment in workplace in the porn industry?
Ooh.
Those are all good questions that I don't think they answered.
That would be an interesting thing because if
or talk about, for that matter.
Yeah. Let's see. Netrumi says, "Is Scribe writing erotic fanfics again?" Nope. Truth be told, I'm writing basically. I mean, it's after a fashion a fanfic, but I'm just using an established character as a jumping off point. I'm actually writing. I got inspired by the character Solomon Kane from Robert E. Howard, who also wrote Conan and all those other kind of things way back in the 30s. He was a correspondent with H.P. Lovecraft, so it's in that same kind of realm. So I'm writing a gothic horror Lovecraftian type thing. That's as much as I can say right now because it really is in the early stages. But I'm just using that character as the jumping off point. I've created a completely different character that will be the protagonist going forward, but I just needed a little basis of something to work off of. Anyway, that being said, Monkey, what have you been up to?
Well, I did a monkey in the morning, and Jack came by and we chatted about stuff. Mostly the kind of stuff that would have been fucketry the last several days. It was a good time. It's another one where at the end it's just like I had to shut down because I was done. I've been going in these spurts, guys. This is why I haven't been here, is because I'll be awake for a couple of hours and sit up, and then my body's just like, done. So go watch that. It was a lot of fun, but that's it.
All right. Satsu, what have you been up to?
I actually didn't do anything today, but Squishy did, which was kind of shocking. So Squishy has always mentioned to me that she likes the idea of baking. I can't really say likes to bake because I've never seen her do it, but she just said, like, I want to bake. Like, that's something that I want to do. And she's never really done it, but she made homemade bread about a week ago, and it was on point. I was shocked because she just out of nowhere, she was bored, so she like, I'm gonna make bread. So she made homemade bread, and outside of the texture being just a little off, like the flavor, like it was fucking good. So we took some pictures of it or whatever, and I have pictures of that. But today she made peanut butter cookies, homemade, like from scratch, and they were fucking excellent. So apparently this is a thing that she's going to start doing, but she did record this one. So be expecting a Squishy cooking video at some point, or baking video, I guess I should say. She was like, yep, I did it. I felt like doing it, and it came out good. And She was all happy. I recorded with the camera, and I almost got peanut butter all over your camera. I was just like, oh, well, that'll be
that's awesome, Squish.
Yeah. She did a really good, but like both times, this was her first time making both things, and she fucking killed it pretty much. I'm impressed. So yeah, that stuff will be coming out once I get a chance to edit it and all that good stuff. But as for me, I ain't do shit.
On a separate topic, you know what I think you should do?
Mm-hmm.
You should start making some notes about your experience having your account invaded, and do a video sort of like describing it, and maybe on reflection some advice for anybody who might encounter it in the future.
Well, the weird thing is, like, it wasn't my account that was breached.
Mm-hmm.
It was my mom's account. And because we're connected,
right,
they just took my money.
I just think maybe you have some interesting or educational things for people at the end of all this.
I mean, all I can say is make sure you have something on your phone that at least if you're going to be out using a local fucking Wi-Fi, like get something that has a VPN accessibility so you ain't getting fucked wherever you're at, because that's what I think it was. Because my mom uses like local Wi-Fi and stuff a lot. To be honest, I have no idea how she got breached, and she don't know.
Okay.
And I talked to the bank, and they have no idea either. They're like, we can see the person's name, and we can see how the money was transferred, but ain't no telling how your mom got hit. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on to fucketry, I'll go first because I just got a couple. So this article was posted today. Kevin Smith, Kevin Smith, thinks Avengers Endgame will be as important as the Bible to future generations.
What?
And I said, Tony Stark, Iron Lord and Savior, hallowed be thy armor. Thy repulsors come, thy will be done. On Midgard, as it is in Asgard. I thought that was clever. Elsewise, Gavin Newsom of California fame tweeted this out today. Doctors should be able to write prescriptions for housing the same way they do for insulin or antibiotics. And I said, coming soon.
Apartments and call me in the morning.
I said, coming soon, Walgreens Real Estate Services. Fill your housing prescription with a name you can trust since 1901. Walgreens, where your new home sits at the corner of happy and realty.
Happy and realty.
Happy and realty. Let's see. And other than that, did I do anything extra here today? Nah. I don't think so. I think that was, yeah. Oh, there's by the way, not having anything to do with fucketry, but for those of you who have Grim Dawn, a major content update is coming out this month. And if you don't have Grim Dawn, it's going to be on sale here pretty quick. So keep an eye out. And also, I forget where. Well, yeah, there's another ARPG that's out right now called Wolchen or something. WOLCEN. It's being put all over the place on Steam and such. And I've been checking it out for a while because it looked interesting, but it was a Kickstarter campaign. And everything that I've read from people who backed the original Kickstarter, they're like, everything that I paid to see in this game, they've taken out, or dumbed it down, or redid it or something. And I'm hearing nothing but buggy results, and it's still in early access, I guess technically, or it's just out of early access, but it's still screwed up. So, maybe it'll be a No Man's Sky down the road. But no, Grim Dawn is still good, and it's still getting updates and still being had free content added to it. So. I need Grim Dawn to be a sponsor. I would totally play Grim Dawn if I got a sponsorship, or maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that's all for me. Satsu, what do you
got? For fucketry, let's see here. What the hell? Sorry, my computer's like being stupid right now. So I was just looking at Hillary Clinton's post earlier that said Putin's puppet is at it again, taking the Russian help for himself. He knows he can't win without it, and we can't let it happen.
Real quick before you continue, thank you, Crappy Fisherman. If anyone wants to laugh, watch YouTube video of Gavin McGinnis boxing Copper Cab. That was the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. Was that something that happened a while back, or am I just...
I want to say it just happened, but don't quote me on that.
Okay, because I know McGinnis was boxing somebody a while back that had a name. Anyway, thank you, Crappy Fisherman. Sorry, Satsu, go ahead.
Well, my response was Democrats are so shitty at this whole winning elections thing that their biggest threat is an entity that does not even reside in this country. And I said, how could you be so shitty at rallying your own base that a foreign entity defeats you in a political race they aren't even running in? Because I still can't figure that out. I don't understand how them pushing this narrative that Russia is in full control of their entire voting base and is taking their votes away from them is like an endorsement of Democratic candidates. It's like, doesn't that prove how shitty you people are? You have direct access to all of your voters here. Like you're literally physically here with them and you can't rally them up enough. Like you're so bad at getting them on your side that some foreign entity can do it better than you can. Like that's not an endorsement of of the Democratic camp. Like it's just not. It makes you guys look incompetent and stupid. And the fact that you are like pushing this as an absolute truth, like this is an absolute fact. We can't do anything about it, and it's horrible. It's like, well, what does that say about your opponents? Because they don't seem to be having that problem. Their base is voting for whoever it is they seem they want as president. Why aren't they being influenced by outside sources? But I don't know. I guess I don't know. I guess they think it's a good thing to tell everybody that they can't win, not only against people here, but somebody who isn't even here. They even lose against. So I don't know. Somebody can explain it to me and make it make sense. I'd love to hear it, but as it stands, it doesn't. Let's see, what else did I see today? I didn't see a lot of fucketry. There was what was trending earlier? Oh, Bernie is a Russian spy or a Russian asset was trending earlier. And that feed was full of all kinds of gems. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to like copy or and paste any of them or save them. But if you get a chance, it's still trending, by the way. Go over there and take a look at Bernie is a Russian asset and check out the mental gymnastics that's going on over there because it is hilarious. And it's not just the people on that side, like who are making the claim. It's actually like Bernie supporters and shit who are also being stupid by saying some crazy, ridiculous shit over there. You can laugh at everybody. That's what I really liked about this particular feed is just about everybody from all camps are being equally stupid, which is always a good time. What else? I think that might have been it. I think that was all the fucketry that I engaged with directly myself. Everything else was just bullshit. So.
All right, Monkey, what do you got?
Well, let's see. The first thing I want to touch on is the fact that the Friends reunion has been confirmed. Hallelujah. Amen. You don't have to agree with me on that, but
I don't.
Yeah, it's not a show, guys. It's just the actors getting together to talk. Reportedly paid $2.5 to $3 million each just to show up.
Yeah, I was wondering what the price tag was going to be for them to show up to this thing because I thought that'd probably be the only thing motivating them to do it. With
the surprise hit of bringing that onto Netflix and how watched that was, it's worth it. It's going to be on HBO Max or Now or whatever their new streaming service is going to be.
So wait, it's going to be on HBO Max, even though it was Netflix that sort of rekindled all the interest?
Yeah, because Netflix lost the rights to it.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So yeah, it was bought out, and yeah, it's going to be elsewhere. I had lots of fucketry today. Let's see where. Tulsi Gabbard just tweeted this out not long ago. Voters need to be confident that our vote is what will decide the nomination process. The candidate with the most delegates at the end of the primary should be our nominee, even if he or she is short of the majority. I don't necessarily disagree with that thinking. However, the rules for the DNC are already set.
Yeah.
Changing it during the primary is kind of what you guys bitched about happening last time.
Yeah.
How about a little consistency? If you don't like the rules, I know, right? If you don't like the rules, the time to change them was before the primary started. Once it started, sorry, this is what it is. This is what you got. Stop saying stupid shit. Oh, YouTube has finally responded to me about not being able to say my name in chat.
Oh, okay.
They finally responded, and they said they looked at my stream from last night and they didn't see a problem. So could I provide screenshots of people not being able to say my name?
Oh, for God's sakes.
The what now? It can be done if you guys type in my name and it doesn't come up for you. If you take a screenshot of that, what should happen is I don't even know how you can do it. Maybe a video actually. We'll test it tonight on Monkey in the Morning. We'll have some fun over there, seeing how many ways to do it. But yeah, can you send me a screenshot? I was like, are you out of your fucking minds?
Yeah, you want me to prove a negative? Okay.
Well, the way I found out about this is because it happened to Bear, and he put it in, and it actually did the censoring thing. So it popped up into chat, but it was grayed out, so only he saw it.
Oh.
So we'll have to test it over there. Don't test it here, guys. Don't blow up the chat here. We'll see what happens. And by the way, guys, if you try it, there may be a way that they can see that it was tried. I'm not real sure, but like I said, we'll try that. Oh, Joe Biden told us that he wants to ban all multi-shot clips.
Multi-shot clip, but that all clips are multi-shot.
Yes.
I see that's genius.
Right. That way you don't have to actually. He still wants to ban the assault weapons as well.
Oh.
And what he really meant to say was magazines, but yeah, he's going to get rid of all of them. Like, that's pistols, that's rifles, and that's your assault rifles you're so scared of.
Yeah, I remember that there was a Punisher comic book from back in the 90s where somebody says, I need another clip. And the Punisher says, it's called a magazine.
Yeah.
Because the military gets so, because in the movies, it's always another clip. And like, no, it's a magazine. Say it right, bitch.
Yeah, don't get upset with me, guys. He's the one that said it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chris Saliza has come out with his predictions for the vote tomorrow.
Oh boy! And what 7 scenarios does he have put
He's
up?
got 5 scenarios.
Oh, okay.
Bernie's likely to win.
Okay, that's scenario number 1. Okay.
And then the other scenarios, and I'm not making this up, Joe Biden finished second, Joe Biden finished third, Buttigieg finished second, and Warren finished second. Somebody's going to finish second, you guys.
Okay, so Klobuchar's not even in his calculus.
No.
Bloomberg's not even in his calculus.
No.
Okay, and who am I missing? I guess that was everybody. Okay.
Yeah. It's the same old Chris. You have a super chat there.
Yep. Thank you, Sanguine. I now have an example that we'll send on Twitter. I find it hilarious the Dems that have been demanding a popular vote election is also so against it in primary. Yeah, that's the interesting thing about it. I'm sure somebody's going to point that out to them at some point, especially if you get to a brokered convention and by all rights, Bernie has the quote unquote popular vote and they decide to end run him at the convention. That'd be funny.
This one's not so much fucketry as it's really cool that this happened for this guy way too late. a guy named Clinton Stewart was let out of prison due to something called the First Step Act. The First Step Act is a criminal justice reform package that was passed bipartisan, the news tells us, bipartisan, and signed by Donald Trump that let people with nonviolent crimes or with ridiculously long sentences asked to have that reviewed.
Okay.
And Clinton Stewart just got out. This is a huge win for Trump because there's a whole bunch of black people, including the man who was let out, who are all like, "Thank you, Trump. We love you. Obama could have done this. Fuck him." It was, going to talk about a powerful message. But I went and read up about Stewart because, just because they let somebody out of prison, doesn't mean they should be let out of prison.
True.
This motherfucker should have never went to prison. Mr. Trump, pardon this man. Him and some friends put together a tech firm where they were hoping to make security software suites for law enforcement agencies.
Okay.
They'd been in contact with the Department of Homeland Security, and they were hoping to get a contract with them and sell it, and boom, big business. Well, instead, that never came through, and they never were able to sell it, so it all folded, and they were charged with fraud. Now, the first time this went before a grand jury, the grand jury went no, but they took it back 2 years later. 2 years later, they re-indicted under a new grand jury, and this motherfucker got 10 years in prison for it.
For fraud of what was the purported fraud? Maybe I'm missing something.
Supposedly stealing money from the people that they worked with, the people that they contracted with. Like they had some people that they like an employment service that they used to bring people in, and they ended up folding on the money that they owed these people.
10 years?
10 years. The prison sentences for the guys were 7 to 11 years, depending on which one.
Jesus Christ, that's terrible.
Nobody made money. It's not like they walked away with hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just like, what the fuck? This guy.
They're like female teacher child molesters that get less than that.
Mm-hmm. Faithless says a failed investment is now fraud. Yeah, that's what this basically was. And so I'm glad he's out of prison. But Mr. Trump, you just pardoned a whole bunch of shitbags. Pardon this poor bastard. He didn't. Fuck you. Andrew P. Street over on the Twitter said this the other day. I don't know if you guys talked about it because I've missed a couple of days. But he said, "Dear all men, stop killing women and children. Stop it. Yours, Andrew." I didn't know we were supposed to be killing women and children.
Well, was their response? Obviously, I wasn't talking about all men.
Well, my response to him was, so what's your scorecard looking like, Andrew?
Yeah, I don't know anybody who's doing that. And I know quite a few men. But Andrew, if you're doing that because you think men are supposed to be, stop.
Yeah. Methinks thou doth protest too much, Andrew.
Yeah. Man, I had so much today.
Okay.
Here's one. I don't know if you saw this. This is from a couple of days ago too. If you're a man and you like slapping women on the face during sex, what the fuck does that say about you? Why the fuck are men turned on by that if you're not misogynistic? Like, someone explain. Why have I met too many men like this?
Well, now, I hate to tell you this. Some women like to be slapped during sex.
Well, part of my response, I am not a hitter during sex. I've never understood it, but I do it because I've been asked to do it.
Right.
It's not that I wanted to.
Yeah. I'm very let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? Not malleable, but I'm very, I don't know. I'm open-ended with a lot of things when it comes to what my partners are into. There's no sort of requirements in my mind, so to speak, even though, BDSM stuff, that's not necessarily a requirement, but anyway. But I've had multiple conversations in the past with my partners and saying like, do you like this? Do you like that? And sometimes I've been asked like, I like to be slapped. I'm like, okay. And then, you just, if that's what they like and it's all consensual. But I mean, now don't get me wrong. There are men out there who are sadists, who, regardless of what the needs or wants of their partner are, they will hurt that person. And those guys are assholes and or criminals, depending on the circumstances. But it's not just a one-way street when it comes to slapping during sex, necessarily. Thank you, Bear. Wait a minute. I'm not supposed to be killing women and children? My bad. Yeah, I didn't know either. I mean, thank God for Andrew for telling us.
Faithless says, wait, ask yourself, what about you makes men want to slap you? I have so many, but the final one I want to get to, the TYT Union. This is the Young Turks Union. They tweeted this out. When we announced our decision to go union with TSE over a week ago, we had hoped that the Young Turks would respect our choice and voluntarily recognize our union. We are dismayed to report they have refused. Yes, TYT has refused to recognize unionization of their employees.
So you mean Chink has refused to recognize?
Yes. By the way, with YouTube money, I just want to point that out.
Wasn't if I'm maybe I'm misremembering, as they say, wasn't Bernie Sanders like the guy they were pulling for in 2015 before Hillary Clinton got the nomination?
Oh yes, they're still pulling for him.
Socialism, you say? Workers' rights, you say? Okay.
I laughed so fucking hard when I saw that.
That's funny.
But yeah, that we'll stop there.
Okay. Well, we're a couple minutes early, but it's chat time. So chat if you have comments, questions, concerns, conspiracy theories, complaints. You can't tell us because there's NDAs on all of you right now. If you have a complaint, you can't tell it. I'm not allowing it. I'm not going to pay you not to. I'm not Bloomberg, but you're just not allowed. Okay? So there you go. Put them in the chat now. If you'd like to ask us a question, please put plenty of chat marks after those so we know it's for us. If you have a statement for us to consider, please put plenty of statement marks after those so we know it's for us. If you don't know what I'm talking about, your friendly neighborhood chat partner will happily inform you because everyone here is so helpful and friendly. Red Chaos Tree, Scribe Light, avoid Wulchin for now. Devs have a lot to fix and can only patch once a week. Yeah, I can't say that it's a bad game. I haven't played it. I've just seen more than a few comments from people who funded and supported the game in Kickstarter, and then when they finally got their copy, they're like, the things you said would be in this game are not there anymore. The things I paid for that I wanted to see in this game have been removed. Maybe they'll be put back in later. I don't know all the details, but yeah, for now, I'd stave off of that. And if you like ARPGs, go after Grim Dawn. It's great. Thank you, Sanguine. And just like Bernie, they don't like when their workers unionize and request more pay. Yeah.
Yep.
And thank you, Cody Fry. We must beat the capitalist scum. Unleash the dog-faced pony soldiers. Oh, the dog-faced. I'm surprised that didn't come up last night, that nobody called Biden out on any of this bullshit. But then most people weren't even talking about Biden. He was almost like a non-entity. Or not last night, but at the debate. Like, yeah,
that's why I've said that Biden is one of the biggest losers of the debate, is because nobody cared.
Yeah, nobody cared enough to attack him. He said they don't even see him as much of a threat anymore. So, Grizilla says, Satsu, any news on what I DM'd you about?
No. We got into the chat like super. Well, for some reason, me and Monkey, neither one of us got like notifications for the chat, so we didn't get much of a pregame thing going on. But I do need to talk to you guys about something. I'll let you know after that.
Fair enough.
Motto Winter. Oh, Lords, would you try a fluffy puppy party? No. Just on principle, no. I don't know what it is, but no.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I'm safe in saying no. Thank you, Cryptic. Who wears short shorts? Dun, 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 dun. You wear short shorts? Dun, 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 dun. No, actually, I don't. Mr. Scott, who do you favor in the Virginia Slims tournament? Jack Daniels.
I don't know who's playing.
And the only reason I say that is a reference to a movie. If you know what movie that is, put it in the chat now. If you're the first one to recognize that reference, you'll get a good job from me right now. Attack Alpaca, have you heard about the mysterious signals that have been reaching Earth every 16 days? Do you think it's coming from aliens? Yes. Why not?
I think it's people from China trying to get out.
That's funny.
Yeah, Angry Illinois in complaint. Satsu hasn't taken a major needed break. Don't get me wrong, I like him, but you guys are a bunch of slave drivers. Hey, you know, I had Monday off because of my migraine. Monkeys had to take a couple of days off because of his body. Satsu is more than entitled to take any days off that he wants, and at this point, he's pulled double duty a couple of times now. So, if he wants to take a day or two off, nobody's contracted to be here. We're not unionized or anything, so
I just feel bad whenever,
Satsu's taking days off.
Yeah.
Fuck are y'all talking about?
Family and such, but no, I do too. This isn't a job per se, right? But it is, in my mind, an obligation, and not one that I'm like loath to do or anything. But yeah, if I feel like on Monday when the migraine, I kept asking myself up to the last minute, like, am I good enough to get on the show? Am I going to be able to do it? And I was like, I can't even have a light bulb on in the other room. I'm not going to be able to stare at a screen for 2 hours or whatever. So I was like, I got to bow out. But I felt bad, because we're a team, etc.
I won't lie to you. If I'd been awake the days that I wasn't here, I'd have been here.
Yeah.
The only thing that kept me off is that when I went and laid down, I actually fell asleep.
Everybody's saying Top Secret. No, that wasn't a reference to Top Secret. It's a movie where Virginia Slims and Jack Daniels appear as people. Okay, there's your other clue. As people. Come up with that. Now, I might have given it all away right there, but anyway. Frosted Glass says, there are 23 flavors in Dr. Pepper. How come no one told me there were that many words for ass?
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh at that. That's funny.
Frosted Glass, you're a poo-poo head. Attack Alpaca, you guys really feel like this show is an obligation? Okay. I don't mean obligation like, oh no, I gotta go do this. It's just that, I feel a responsibility to be there for my co-hosts, to host the show. It's part of my life now. So when I feel like I can't, or if something is going to throw off my schedule, or I think it's going to, like visiting my parents or something, and I always say I might miss the show, I feel bad because it's, like I say, it's part of my routine now. Thank you, Bear Koch. Every time you use the word per se, my mind always goes to that South Park episode where the vampire kids always used it. We have, let's see, was it Angela Arriaga? Were you the first one? You were the first one. Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man. That's correct. Don Johnson and the guy whose name suddenly escapes me because Mickey Rourke, yes. Harley Davidson, Marlboro Man. Very interesting movie. One that I think we were thinking of reviewing at one point on movies you should have watched. I actually bought a copy of it. I have it around here somewhere. Where various iconic sort of like brands of things are represented as actual people sort of interacting in a fictional world. It's a very, very weird movie, but my father, for whatever reason, I think he just liked the movie poster. He had a copy of that movie poster up in his garage for like when I was a kid. And so it's always had like a sentimental place in my heart just because of that. So yeah, there you go. So Angela Arriaga, you get a good job. Devil Fruit Zero, Scribe Light, I had lamb and I think it was disgusting. Have you guys had lamb and what do you think? I've had lamb chops before, and I recently had a lamb gyro, from a Greek restaurant, and I've never had a problem with lamb. What about you guys?
I've never had it.
I've had gyros.
Gyros, yeah.
Yeah, I've had that before, and it's fine. It's not like great, but I've never had actual lamb. So
I think I have to assume it depends on how it's prepared. I don't know if I've had like I must not have had badly cooked or badly seasoned lamb. So it's entirely possible you can have bad lamb. I don't know. Aloysius Fudpucker. If you could go back in time, would you still get a English degree? On reflection, probably not. Knowing what I do now, knowing what I know now, I would probably try to get your basic business administration degree, so an MBA, something like that, because that is a far more wide-ranging degree for getting into different kinds of jobs. With my situation, I didn't have something I was aiming for specifically, so I couldn't really be disappointed where I ended up. But I obviously wasn't aiming to become a teacher or a professor or something. So basically, all my English degree did was say to an employer, I can achieve a goal beyond the simple stuff, essentially. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would have ended up anywhere differently as a result. But who knows? If I'd had a different education, things might be different. So I guess the one regret I do have, one educational regret I do have, is not doing running start when I had the chance. If I had been able to go and do college credits while still being in high school, would have saved myself a lot of time and saved my parents a decent amount of money, because I still went to a community college to start off with, but it wasn't that expensive, but all the same. Cryptic, thank you. Your food taste is sheepish. Ha 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 ha. Pyrus Creed, should Satsu change his name to Satsu to Raid Shadow Legends? Not unless he's being sponsored by them.
Oh yeah. They sponsor me, I'll change my name to that in a heartbeat.
Did I mention what I heard the average sponsor payout is for Raid Shadow Legends?
You told me. I think we weren't on the air though.
Yeah. Should I say that on the air?
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, I found it just by looking it up. Somebody posted something on Twitter, I think, talking about it. Okay, on the off chance there's some problem with it, I won't say. But I'll just say it's not an insignificant amount of money. Let's put it that way. If the rumors are true, let's put it that way. Apparently, I have that stuck in my head now. Mr. Scott, Scribe, Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man are awesome characters. A good, bad movie. But those characters deserved a better movie, in my opinion. The concept was really interesting. What they did with it, not executed very well at all, but it was interesting how they the idea behind it. Devil Fruit Zero, Scribe, have you heard that the guy who made Back to the Future, Robert Zemeckis, was asked for a remake of his franchise, and he said he wouldn't sell his children into prostitution? Good on him. Those are movies that don't need to be remade, rebooted, anything. They're fine. They're classics the way they are. I
thought they were doing or thinking about that.
Well, I remember hearing something to the effect of what's his name? Oh, the actor with the really bright eyes, or what was his name? Shit, I remember. Anyway, there was some rumor way back when they were going to reboot or remake Back to the Future. Zac Efron, that's what it was. Zac Efron was supposed to be like the new Marty McFly or something. And when I heard that, I was like, no, dear God, no. So if Robert Zemeckis still has power over what to be done with the Back to the Future franchise, and he's saying no remakes, and he does so in perpetuity, I don't blame him. And I hope it never happens, because that's one of those things that's like, you don't remake Gone with the Wind, that kind of thing. Let's see. Motto Winter. Oh, Lords, are you saying you would not go to a place that has a whole bunch of fluffy puppies to play with? Now, see, I don't know if fluffy puppies is slang for something in particular. That's why I was hesitant.
I'm not a dog person.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. I mean, I don't mind dogs as much these days as I used to when I was a kid, but I'm a cat person. So, there you go. Mr. Scott said, did you see the Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. Back to the Future deepfake? Yes, and it was very impressive. I was particularly impressed by the way that they were able to manage the shadow on the Robert Downey Jr. face from the brim of the hat and everything else. It looked, I mean, except for in a couple of very tiny spots, it looked seamless, which was really disturbing. And for a very brief instant, I thought, man, if they do a remake of Back to the Future, they should. I was like, no, they shouldn't. BG says, Scribe, so when do you think they will remake Citizen Kane? God, how many times have they remade Citizen Kane without calling it Citizen Kane? I mean, elements of that have been done over and over and over again across time. I always think of like stealth remakes of movies. Casablanca, the movie Barbed Wire with Pamela Anderson is a remake of Casablanca. Look it up. It's I mean, plot beat for plot beat. It's a remake of Casablanca, which is just it's so bad. Mr. Scott, J87, Manchurian Candidate. Well, they did a remake of that. That was Liv Schreiber and Denzel Washington, I think, back in early 2000s, late 90s.
It wasn't that long ago.
That wasn't it? I thought it was early 2000s.
No, I mean, in time frame. Your time frame is probably right. I mean, it wasn't a whole long time ago.
Yeah, no, it was within the last 20 years or so. Which might be a long time for some people. I don't know.
Shit.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
Shit.
You know that guy. So he's famous for saying that line on The Wire, but that's apparently just a line that he says because he appeared in a movie called The 25th Hour, which was a Edward Norton movie. I think did Spike Lee direct that, or he produced or something. Anyway, and that actor shows up playing a completely different character. And he busts a guy for having drugs in his house, and he's like, "She." And I'm like, "Okay, are you the same character crossing over in different things, like Belzer was and playing Munch from Homicide or something, or is just that actor? That's his famous line. He just uses it in different places."
I didn't realize anybody was famous for that. I just heard it my whole life.
Yeah, no, there's a character. There's an actor. I think specifically in The Wire is where it's mostly quoted from. He plays some political officialist. I can't remember, but anyway, yeah, that's his line. He's Peter Silak, Hades 3 and 3. I heard the next Avengers movie will be called Avengers Phase 4. Do you know if that's true? I think that might just be a placeholder. If it's actually called Phase 4, that's not very exciting. So that's probably a placeholder name until they come up with a name, because, you know, releasing the title sometimes gives away what's going on. And since the Avengers movies are usually a culmination of other plot points from other movies that haven't come out yet, they're probably just keeping it under wraps. Dylan Fruit Zero, Scribe, what is the movie that you think is the most overrated piece of garbage? Well, I mean, it's sort of on a matter of scale, because there's things that aren't terrible movies, but like the way that they're hyped so far exceeds their quality that it makes the movie garbage in comparison to that. So like Avatar, I thought Avatar was mediocre. It was, I mean, as a movie, as a story, the whole 9 yards, is like, okay, visually, sure, at the time it was really impressive, but it's sort of like a video game. You can have the prettiest graphics in the world, but if the gameplay sucks, who gives a shit? And that's how I felt about Avatar. So first one that comes to mind, I'd say Avatar.
Silence of the Lambs. That movie was crap.
I know, yeah, you do. Satsu?
I don't know. I don't really have any movies that are like supposedly extremely popular that I hate or that I think is trash. So I don't know.
Frosted Glass, did you hear that they're going to do a Back to the Future spin-off about Marty and his past mom, but they're waiting on the California porn license? That was the funniest and weirdest part of that first movie. It's like, your mom has a crush on you. Ooh, that was such great comedy.
Your mom undressed you while you were unconscious.
Exactly. It's like, where am I? What? It's like, Calvin. What? It's written on your underwear. Like,
Yeah, Frosted, you know what you're starting here. You better stop.
Pyrus Creed, Monkey, have you watched The Shield, and is Pumpkin still sick?
Pumpkin is feeling much better, and no, I haven't watched anything.
Someday, man, I'm gonna fly over there and sit you down and make you watch that with me.
Somebody kept. I remember people kept asking me about the Dragon Prince or whatever. Just an update on that whole thing. I actually looked it up. Like I looked up the show to see what it was, and it's actually one of those kind of what can I call it? It's animated, but it's kind of got that 3D kind of animation thing.
Oh, like ray tracing kind of thing.
Yeah, like the cartoony. I'm trying to think of something that you guys would know that was kind of like that. The Ruby. Well, goddamn, you won't know that either. Anyway, it looks interesting. Apparently, it's got a lot of Avatar: The Last Airbender vibes. And I really liked The Last Airbender. Like that was an excellent show back in the day. As an adult now, though, I don't know. It did look interesting, though, and I am going to check it out. Now that I've visualized it, I've seen it, so I'm like, okay, now I'm intrigued. But, yeah, I just want to let you guys know that there's an update. Like, I actually looked at it this time.
Okay. Peter Silent Case 3 and 3. I know you hate Silence of the Lambs, Monkey, but what do you think of Hannibal and Red Dragon?
I haven't watched.
I liked Red Dragon all right. I also really like Manhunter, the before Silence of the Lambs Hannibal Lecter movie that wasn't Anthony Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
It was Brian Cox. It's a very different movie. Michael Mann directed that one. It's really good on its own merits. And thankfully, Red Dragon is different enough. I mean, if you've seen Manhunter, you pretty much know the chain of events more or less, but Red Dragon is certainly a much different movie with Ralph Fiennes' performance in Red Dragon is just fucking intense and great. So I kind of like it. I thought them trying to still use Anthony Hopkins when he'd obviously aged and putting him in a prequel. And granted, this is before CGI started replacing faces and stuff. So I don't hate the fact that they didn't try to de-age him digitally because that would look like shit back then. It's just a little awkward trying to convince me that that's Hannibal Lecter a couple of months before Silence of the Lambs occurs. So anyway. Irie Prostate, Scribe, what is your take on the Hannibal TV series? My take? I haven't seen it all, but with the first, I think I watched the first season, and my first reaction was, wait, this is on NBC? Because the amount of violence and gore in that show, I was like, this can't be shown on network television. This is beyond the beyond, but I guess it was. So, beyond that, it was a really interesting take on the characters. Because of the licensing issues, they had to change. They could use the characters' names and such, but they had to basically rearrange the entire setting because you had characters that were showing up that shouldn't have been there by the stories or that hadn't existed yet or in different roles and that kind of thing. Which is an interesting way to do it because then you were familiar with the characters to a certain extent, but then you didn't know what was going to happen, which made it more interesting than just watching a retelling of the novels. So, let's see. Mr. Scott says favorite PC game growing up. Huh?
Well, for me, growing up, I didn't play many PC games. We didn't have a computer, so
yeah. The one that I was most excited about, I guess, when we finally had a computer and everything, and then when I was actually playing PC games on regularly, was probably Vampire the Masquerade Redemption, because I was I was a big Vampire the Masquerade fan, and the really cool thing about that game, which most games I don't think do anymore, is it had a multiplayer feature that had a storyteller function. So basically, you could set up your own maps or take the hubs that were already created or custom maps, and you could script whole stories for people to dial in and actually play through live with you controlling things as they went. It was a really, really interesting way to sort of have an online MMORPG, but it was completely open-ended and it was dictated by the user. And that just added a whole extra layer of playability to that game for me. Looking at it now, because you can get it for like $3 on Steam or something, it's obviously not aged all that well. but the voice acting and the presentation of the setting, for the most part, still really clicks for me. And I still really love that game.
Yeah, I mean, if it had a graphics overhaul, it would be a great game. But it definitely shows its time, like the clunky hands and shit. It doesn't look good.
Yeah, the graphics don't work that great. The gameplay is very relatively simplistic. I mean, it's based on the Diablo engine, if I remember correctly. So yeah, if it had a refurbished version of the game, or if there was a mod out there that put like more modern, I think there have been a couple of mods out there trying to improve the graphics. But all the same, there is a sense of nostalgia that I get simply by playing that game the way it was, because it, feels like the past again. Whatever. Devil Fruits, you're a Scribe. Have you ever seen Spike Lee's movie Bamboozled? Once, a long time ago. And wasn't that an anthology film, like different little vignettes? Because I remember one where like a guy was. The vision I have in my head is a guy sort of like seeing history, but he's sort of like trapped in a sort of an empty space kind of thing with like a spotlight down on him. That's the image I'm getting. But anyway, I saw it once many years ago. That's all I can say. What else we got? Questions. Scrolling up. Zeogol, Lords of the Night, for $2 million would have something in an episode of Tales from the Crypt happen to you. Oh, no.
I don't want to die.
Yeah, everything in Tales from the Crypt was something awful. Like, there was this one episode. I didn't see them all as a kid, but I saw a lot of them. There was this one episode that starred Joe Pesci. And the premise of the show was there was this guy who got really horny over this girl, and he found out that she had a twin sister. And he wanted to lay both of them. So he fooled them into thinking that he had a twin brother, because he was playing two different guys and sleeping with both of them, right? And then, of course, by the end of it, they find out that he's cheating on each other with each other. And so in order to get revenge on him, they cut him in half with a chainsaw, and then they sleep with each one of them sleeps with a half.
That's not creepy at all.
Yeah, I know. I was like, and the other one was the plot was there was this old like billionaire or something played by William Hickey. And if you don't remember who William Hickey is, you'll know him when you see him. He was in Christmas Vacation as like grandpa or whatever. Anyway, he's fallen in love with this young girl, but he knows that she won't want him because he's old. So he pays all this money to completely transform his body and basically in degrees start becoming a completely different, like muscular man person, right? And by the end of it, he spent his entire fortune to effectively replace his body with the body of that of a younger man. And then he's like, now I can be with her. And then he finds out that she's a complete gold digger. And the guy that he replaced his body with now has all his money. And she's with him because she's a gold digger.
Nice.
And it's like, oh, boo. It was great. Greg Rogers, what do you think of the film The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo? Do you mean the original or the American remake? Because if we're talking the original's great. The American remake is unnecessary, like most remakes are, especially since they're planning on making a American version of Parasite, because Americans don't want to read subtitles or can't handle a movie that's not set in America, I guess.
I don't want to read when I'm watching a fucking movie.
Okay, well then this movie's made for you, you lazy bastard.
Yeah, you can have the inferior version then.
Yeah, just like there's a couple like Insomnia, the original version with Stellan Skarsgård is great and doesn't need a remake, but then they made one with Al Pacino and Robin Williams.
Fucking
and then
Son, there's so many good movies.
Yeah, Let the Right One In, the sort of child vampire movie, and then they did the remake. It's like, no, it's these things are unnecessary. I hope
they are necessary because we don't want to read a fucking movie.
Anyway. Formerly Rodline, Lords of the Night, what kind of monkey is Ranting Monkey, and is Curious George a monkey? Curious George is a chimpanzee, if I'm not mistaken, technically, and that would be a ape rather than a monkey. Monkeys have tails, and apes don't have tails. That's always been the sort of the line of demarcation in my mind for what's a monkey versus an ape. I might be wrong on that because I'm not an anthropologist, but what do you envision ranting monkey? What kind of monkey is monkey?
I'm just a monkey. I thought Curious George had a tail, but you're right, he doesn't.
No, he's a little
as I think about
chimpanzee. Let's see. Raziel says the Swedish one was amazing. Yes, Let the Right One In, not Let Me In. Let Me In is the American remake. Let the Right One In is the original, and it's fine and great just the way it is. Red Chaos Tree says Satsu 2 Cents Train to Busan is getting a sequel.
I hear it's called goddamn. I literally saw the name of it in my head, and
is it set in the Wild West and it's called Wagon Train to Busan?
No.
Oh,
it's got a completely different name. Like if you just saw the movie or heard about it coming out, you'd never know it was a sequel to Train to Busan. It's like I think it's like a very different title.
Yeah, like Doctor Sleep versus The Shining. Apparently, a lot of the reason people didn't see Doctor Sleep is they didn't understand it was a sequel to The Shining. I've seen bits and pieces of it now. It looks really cool. I might have to watch it at some point. Thank you, Cody Fry. Ranting Monkey is the Grease variety.
I'm totally not a grease monkey.
I was about to ask, you're into cars? Do you fix cars, that kind of thing?
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not mechanically inclined myself.
That's why God made mechanics.
There you go. Mr. Scott says, have you seen Death Wish, i.e. Charles Bronson? The original one? Yes.
Yep.
And it was that was Jeff Goldblum's first movie, if I remember correctly. He played one of the criminal rapists at the beginning. As I haven't seen the probably lousy Bruce Willis version. And I don't know how many other Death Wish sequels I've seen. There's been 6 of them or something?
Sure. Yeah. I'm not sure, but yeah, I know there's a lot of them.
The thing, what I always remember, though, along with the actual movie, is the little joke inside an episode of The Critic where it says, this week I'll be reviewing Death Wish 7. And then they cut to Charles Bronson. He says, I wish I was dead. It was... Sorry. Will it Forge? Anyone who has read Dr. Sleep knew it was a sequel to The Shining. Well, yeah, sure. But again, your average movie-going audience is Dr. Sleep. It doesn't say Dr. Sleep, The Shining 2 or something. It's just Dr. Sleep. And I appreciate that they didn't say The Shining 2, but formerly Rod Line, LOTH. I don't know who LOTH is, but I'll read the question anyway. Thoughts on DC Comics having Bruce Wayne getting old Batman and Batman being a black character? Wait, Bruce Wayne getting old, Batman being a black. They've changed who is under the cowl several times over the years. So, whatever, I guess. I don't know.
Look, I don't care what color Batman, I'm using quotes here, is, as long as that person's name is not Bruce Wayne. Right. His name could be whatever. They can make him whatever, whoever the fuck he wants to give the mantle to. I don't give a shit what they look like. It could be a woman, man, a child. I don't care. As long as that person is not rebranded as Bruce Wayne, then they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, and especially if they've at least established the character in some fashion with some length of time prior. This isn't just someone out of the blue. This isn't like a Riri Williams kind of thing that comes in.
Right.
Like Sam Wilson, the Falcon. He became Captain America eventually. And that guy's been around for decades. And he's been like Captain America's best friend. So that made sense.
Right.
As long as it makes sense to the setting and it's not just an insert, it doesn't actually become a token situation, great. But otherwise, yeah, I'm with Satsu. It's just make it a new character, give them their own backstory. Don't try to just alternate universe. Oh, now it's Bruce Wayne kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to differ slightly. Stop giving black people hand-me-down characters.
There's that too.
That too.
Yeah. Let's see. Greg Rogers. The originals of The Bridge and Wallander were better than remakes. The Bridge and Wallander. Are those TV shows? I don't know. Let's see. Mr. Scott. What if Superman in an alternate universe became Batman? They've done that story. They did a story where it was Clark Kent became Batman. and like Bruce Wayne became Superman. I forget exactly what the mechanism was that made that happen, but there's been a lot of what ifs. I have some like Silver Age what ifs basically for DC Comics. What if Jimmy Olsen had the powers of Superman or something? Thank you, Sanguine. Old World Monkeys. Seriously, YouTube? Okay, well, you have an example of not being able to do that if you have some way to take a screenshot. Old World Monkeys include apes like orangutans do, or rectangles do squares. Okay. Tails / lack thereof are one of the chief differentiation. Yeah, that's sort of like my grade school understanding of what separates classification of a monkey versus an ape is having a tail. So let's see, Midnight Exile. Marvel equals what if, DC equals Elseworlds. Not in the Silver Age. There was a lot of before Elseworlds DC Silver Age comics that did a bunch of what if stuff. But guys, with that, it is not a what if that we're at the top of the hour and thus the end of the show. So thank you guys so much for coming out tonight, as you guys always do. You are the fourth consistent member collectively of the Lords of the Knights. Thank you for coming out. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though our chat is the most well-behaved in the internet. Everyone who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. It will all be spent on terrible things I'll put in my body, like goldfish and Dr. Pepper. Are you guys gaming tonight?
I am.
I will not be there.
Thank you, Last Minute Sanguine. The ranting one has screen grabs in his DMs. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Thank you.
Hopefully, maybe YouTube will do something about that. So yeah, go check out 2 Cents Plus after this, guys, for Satsu. What are you be playing, Satsu?
Dark Souls 3.
Dark Souls 3. You can have.
We're doing the DLC now.
Oh, okay. Is Sinatra going to join you?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sinatra and the Satsu over on 2 Cents Plus. See them die a lot fighting giant monsters. Remember, guys, tomorrow night, per usual, will be on Monkey's channel at the regular time. However, always keep an eye on Twitter. You never know when things might change, so be sure to follow the three of us. And as far as our channels go, be sure to like and subscribe, and definitely hit that bell, because you never know. Everything might fall apart. And one last-minute thank you to Manic on Twitter. Put out some very adorable little Scribe light arts this morning, and they really brighten my morning. They're so cute and adorable. I appreciate it. Thank you. Anything else before we go, guys?
Nope.
All right, then. Well, everyone. Oh, sorry. I'll get this right someday, all at once. Monkey, Satsu, thank you for joining me as always.
Indeed.
Everyone, your lives make us sad, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
And as well, per tradition, getting out my copy of Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns, the romance and sexual sorcery of sadomasochism. And today's secret word is pharmaceutical.
Pharmaceutical.
Well, there you go, guys. I ended up advertising for the drug industry. Great.